Hey, I just got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Have you found Carmen Sandiego? Just out of curiosity.
I've always known where Carmen Sandiego is. Right
in
here.
your heart?
Yeah.
You sick fuck.
Carmen Sandiego was hot, bro.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Sneaking around in that trench
coat and hat. Don't give me that side eye.
Teasing me. Giving me that side eye.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know about that side eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look like I'm having a stroke.
Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, Keith. It's True Lies.
Woo!
You son of a bitch.
Oh, man. Happy holidays. Christmas come early.
It's a gift. It's a gift from me to you. It's a gift from you to me.
Yes. Yes.
It's a gift.
This feels great.
It was always an inevitability. It was always going to happen, but I'm just glad we brought it up, in a recent episode. Before The Devil Knows You're Dead, go watch it.
Go watch it.
It's a Christmas miracle. We're sitting
Sure
here,
is.
we're talking about True Lies.
Yeah.
One of the greatest pieces of art, really, of all time.
In the history.
And we also, it's making us feel giving. It's making us feel loving. Might be the whiskey, but, who's to say? We just want to thank all of you for watching, especially, some of our most loyal viewers. Shout out to Rob Freeman. What's up, Rob?
Rob, yes. Rob's on the emails. Rob's been emailing us about all the movies that he watches, asking our opinions. Definitely, if you have some thoughts too, email's open. Hit us up. So thank you. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it.
Rob, you better like True Lies, bro. You better like True Lies.
You hit us up in the comments, but only if you like True Lies.
Yeah. And Jonathan Thames.
Hey, what's up, guys? Keith and Ev. I'm a big fan. I really like your discussions and enjoy how you guys break things down.
Always much love to our friend Jonathan, the
Yes.
multimedia mega fan.
Absolutely.
Great dude. And I just want to say a quick fuck you to Richie Rauscher.
Ev is fat.
But beyond that, let's talk about True Lies.
True Lies.
What can I say? I'm a spy.
True Lies is the movie that needs to exist today that doesn't. It's the movie I long for today. And it just doesn't exist, and that breaks my brittle heart. Why don't they do this anymore? This is the perfect...
Well, we just talked about it.
It's a new episode. They didn't watch that episode yet.
No, I know. But I mean, we just talked about it last week.
Oh, okay.
I think they think they're doing it. I think they think they're still doing it.
They're not doing it.
Well, obviously.
Obviously.
Red Notice thinks it's True Lies.
Get the fuck out of here. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Are you kidding me?
I'm offended. I'm just offended.
I'm offended too. I was offended as I watched Red Notice. They think that, they're clearly shouting out, homaging, ripping off True Lies.
Harry, you do not have time to tango, buddy. You copy?
Oh, good. You're dancing with her.
So they're clearly aware of it. They definitely think that film is like the modern day True Lies. I will promise you that.
I hope not. I hope you're wrong. And if you're right, I hope you fucking die. I shouldn't have said that. It's just...
True Lies is phenomenal. It always comes to mind when I think of films that are... It's just a notch below. But like the thing I always say, perfect for what it is. True Lies is almost perfect for what it is. It is a great time. It is so emblematic of this lost genre of like R-rated action films that are also funny and like by today's standards, it's basically family friendly. Honestly, it's an R-rated film in 93 or 94 or whatever, but like there's nothing in it that's so awful.
No.
There's like some violence and
some foul language. There's foul language.
Foul language and Jamie Lee in a bra and panties, which we will discuss.
We are going to get into it, guys. And I say guys because it's only guys who are watching this show. So yes.
We know. We check the analytics.
Saddle up.
Get ready, 38-year-old fellas. We know who you are.
You sick fucks. But please keep watching.
But True Lies is great. Tell me your memories of watching True Lies as a child.
I was, as an infant, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it in theaters. What did it come out, 94, 93, 94, I want to say?
I think it came out in 94. We should know that.
Somewhere around that time, just when Dumb and Dumber came out.
It was a big year. It's a big year for Keith.
It's a big year, guys. 3 Jim Carrey movies and True Lies. I didn't see it in theaters, obviously, R-rated. But I caught it, in the mid 90s, and it was adult enough to make me feel like I shouldn't be watching it. It was funny. There's a lot of fun comedy in it, and there's some serious nature to it. And then watching it as an adult, because I haven't watched it in a long time, the thing I was worried about was the story, because I just had such fond memories of growing up with it and watching it on TV and watching it on VHS, because I had a copy of it, just enjoying the ride as a kid. Now I'm like, fingers crossed, this story isn't dog shit, and I'm like, ugh, this is just awful now. And it's not. Like the bar has been set so low. I'm gonna praise this film for. It's almost gonna sound sarcastic for the things I'm gonna praise it for, but they're non-existent today. So the praise is valid. But it just executes on a level that it needs to execute on. It doesn't overachieve, I wouldn't say that, but it hits every note that it needs to hit. Everything is paid off. Everything works in conjunction with each other. It doesn't lose itself over the course of the film, even though it's really long. Like, it does exactly what it needs to do.
You have so many great points there, Keith.
I love it.
Well said.
Thank you. And the episode.
I will just say that to your point of like the bar being set so low now, I've rewatched some films from my childhood, like from the really early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And I will say that the worst film made from pre-1994 is better than all but maybe 10 of like the biggest awards chasers that are out today. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, The Power of the Dog, that's a really great film, but like your average big movie today is worse than the worst film. It's worse than Beethoven.
Daddy's little girl been naughty tonight?
George? Who are you talking to?
I just rewatched Beethoven, and I was like, okay, yeah, this movie is not great, but it's also fucking Citizen Kane compared to almost anything. Like, they actually tried. There's an actual dog in the shots.
Yeah.
Like, all that stuff. It goes a long way.
Do you mean Citizen K9?
Oh, you should be sorry. You should be sick.
I'll drink to that. There's more where that came from.
I'm going to have to.
It's fucking Christmas. Leave me alone.
I'm starting to like this guy. Oh, we still got to kill him. I mean, that's a given.
I think it's one of the earliest R-rated films I saw. I think. Came out, 94 in theater. I also didn't see it because I was 10 years old. But I did see it, I think, probably 95, 96 at the absolute latest, before I was allowed to watch R-rated films. I have a clear memory of, I shout out again to my dear childhood friend Josh Hamilton, who loved films, as much, if not more than I did. And that was like the thing we bonded over. And his parents let him watch R-rated films. And I would go to his house, and I remember him being like, you gotta see this movie, True Lies. It's the greatest thing in the world. And his mom was in the room, and she just like looked at me, and I was like, huh? And she was like, okay, don't tell your parents. I was like, okay, deal.
They'll never know.
Yeah. And it was so great because it like you just said, it's adult, but it's also so much fun. It is so much fun. It is so genuinely funny. And I think there's so many reasons for that. But, it's a James Cameron film. James Cameron, for whatever his flaws are, knows how to make a fucking movie. Like, there's no denying that James Cameron has a solid grasp of story structure.
It should work on all levels. It should be visual, acoustic, musical, emotional. And I don't know if humor is an emotion. I guess it is. It should be funny in the right places.
It's also very well written. The dialogue is very funny, but not like Some parts maybe a little, but like not too cheesy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the performances all do what they need to do. So like, what more could you, and awesome action set pieces. What more could you ask for from this type of film?
Is this better than Titanic?
I'll never let go. I promise.
It goes True
Well, that's
Lies.
a complicated. that is a level of complication that I was not expecting from a question from you.
Titanic,
on this film.
Avatar.
Oh, it's certainly better than Avatar. I don't know that it's better. I don't know that it's a better film than Titanic, but it's. I mean, James Cameron's is great. He was great for a long time. You know, it's hard to compare. Like I don't know that I'd say it's better or worse than Aliens, which I think is such a great, awesome film. He's made some really great, memorable movies. As far as a genre film goes, as far as like an adult-ish action comedy, this is, you know, top 3, top 5.
It's
I don't
one
know.
of the best.
I want to think
Yeah.
about it, but it's up there. It's up there.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, this is the first thing I wrote. Why is Arnold so charismatic? And that's a question about Schwarzenegger, who I don't think we've talked about yet.
We haven't.
On the Bluff Council.
Welcome, Arnold.
Welcome, young fans who probably aren't watching this show, but like, it's so fascinating to me that there's a whole generation. I mean, people that are like 25 years old, like not children, who don't know Schwarzenegger for more than maybe they have some memory of him as a politician. You know what I mean? And then like he's like this geriatric old guy actor. Like you cannot overstate his importance. His fucking vitality.
Hasta la vista, baby.
He's so great. And this isn't even, you could make the argument that this is like the last sort of piece of his prime, right? 93, 94. He not to say he didn't make good movies after that.
I was gonna say.
But the rest of the 90s, you know, he did like Eraser and that movie about fucking Satan. What is that? End of Days, maybe? Like, he started to drop off a little bit after, you know, this is sort of the bookend to like his 80s. He's the biggest star in the world, maybe.
I'll be back.
Certainly like one of the top 3 most famous movie stars of the 1980s and bleeding into the 90s with Terminator 2 and then True Lies.
You're fired.
He is such a star, and I want to understand why that is, because we talk about Dwayne Johnson in Red Notice, and I feel like Dwayne Johnson, with all respect, comparatively, is like, does not have that. He does not have that element of like fucking prime Schwarzenegger where you're just like, this guy could fuck anybody up. He might steal my wife. Like he's funny. He's like endearing in some weird way. It's this combination of skills that I don't think he gets the credit for nowadays.
He is one of the few that I think when people say the it factor, like he's just got it, because it's not just the physique, because The Rock has the physique. He's a star. Like there's people just are stars, and he is one.
I think part of it might be that we watched his journey, like his evolution of being a performer is so drastic almost, and so you want to root for him. And so I think by this point we're, you know, society is 14, 16 years into their Arnold relationship, and so it's like he has all this built-in stock. You know, like you know him, you love him, he's funny, he's great, he's charming, he's sexy, he's strong, like all this stuff. You're like, yes, I'm in.
I'm sure there's someone at home watching who loves The Rock and goes, The Rock is exactly what you're describing. But to me, there's such a big difference, and I wish I could explain it, and I can't. I can't explain the difference between the two.
Well, I'll give you two things. Two things, though, and what I said in Red Notice, too, is like, one, Arnold, I think, has some chemistry with female co-stars, which I don't think The Rock does, and I think that even subconsciously goes a long ways. And two, the other thing I said in that Red Notice episode, Arnold has done, like, R-rated films that I think really ingratiate him to a more adult audience, where it's like the stakes seem higher because some of Schwarzenegger's films are like, there's not any laughs to be had. You know what I mean? It's like these are high stakes films that are like dark and serious and gritty, And I think there's something there that makes that more meaningful.
You tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do?
I feel like we should talk about the performances.
The performances.
Because
we've talked about Arnold. Would you agree?
Yeah, we've talked about Arnold. He's Arnold. The scene stealer, and I feel like you feel the same way, but the person I love the most is Bill Paxton. Like, he's so much fun in this film, but I couldn't tell you all the times I quoted literally everything that he says in that film. I could probably recite to you every line he has.
I got a little dick, it's pathetic.
I've just always thought it was such an amazing performance, such a great character, and he fucking nails it. Like, he crushes it. I can't say enough about how just enjoyable. And he's such a swarmy, he's not like a great guy, obviously, but it's such an enjoyable character.
The vet gets him wet.
I literally wrote down on my notes here, this is a quote, this is a direct quote.
From yourself.
Has anyone ever been as good in a movie as Bill Paxton is in this movie? It's just fucking beautiful.
It's so great.
It is so funny, and it is so perfect. And Bill Paxton, God bless, R.I.P., such a talent, has been, was great in so many things. But my God, this is just the scene-stealing dynamo of, like, hilarity. It's just the best, funniest character, just supplemented perfectly by, I feel like, Tom Arnold's observational humor of just like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking used car salesman. Like, it just gets better and better. So funny. And the line that always had us falling over from the time I was 11 to the time I was 30. Do you know what that line is?
I could bet.
Ass like a 10-year-old boy.
I can't tell you how many times I said, ass like a 10-year-old boy. and she can start a leaf blower.
She's like all these babes. You get their pilot lit, they can start a leaf blower.
I can't quantify the amount of times I said that growing up as a teenager in my life, just around my friends.
Ass.
Oh, to
You're
say
right.
ass like a 10-year-old
You're right.
boy.
No, ass like a 10-year-old boy is the line. I apologize.
That's the line.
Oh, God, she's got the most incredible body, and a pair of titties make you want to stand up and beg for buttermilk. Ass like a 10-year-old boy.
Like, that whole car ride back
that
is like, you don't think he can get any sleazier. And he just keeps descending. Like, it's like, oh my God, don't say anything. He can't say anything worse than that. Oh my God, he can't. And he just keeps doing it. It's so funny.
She could be so hot if she wanted to be.
And with you, she gets to be real hot, huh?
Red hot.
Yeah.
Her thigh steam.
ass like a 10-year-old boy is, I stay to this day.
When I saw this movie, I was 10.
I was a 10-year-old boy.
And I literally thought, I like cracked up, but I was also like, the fuck is this guy talking? Like, I didn't get it.
It didn't make any sense to me. But
even as an adult, it doesn't make a terrible amount of sense.
This is what's so great about it. That is, I can't breathe. I can't. This is what's so perfect about it. It's so perfect.
Dude. Oh.
It's
like a 10-year-old boy as you're fucking complimenting a woman's looks it's just art. It's just art on how fucking terrible and sleazy this guy is.
It's off here, and this is, no one wants to hear my breakdown of comedy, but the reason this is so funny is because nothing. It's not a punchline. The difference between him and Tom Arnold, they're a great compliment to one another in terms of comedy, but it's not a punchline. His sincerity, we're laughing at him. Because how cool he thinks he is, how awesome he thinks he is. And to say a line like ass like a 10-year-old boy, like, he just misses all of it. He misses everything. It doesn't make sense. It's absurd in a perfect way. It's absurd in a perfect way. And his sincerity is what makes it so fucking So funny.
That you would think like that is ever an okay thing to say, but a thing to say to someone on the first day you've met them that you're trying to conduct a business interaction with? I'm sorry. That's fucking... Who wrote that? You deserve an Oscar.
100%. Yeah. The best writer of all time. That whole scene is brilliant. Just his cackling, and he's so confident. It's just things like...
you just sense him getting more and more comfortable. Where he's like, oh, this guy's cool. I can say whatever I want.
And even better than that, this is the best, some of the best editing, and pacing. And it just is such a hilarious joke from that scene and he's like, he keeps nudging him, and he's like, pussy, am I right? And he's like, oh, so what's your secret? And he goes, I won't tell you. That's my trade secret, my friend. And then it jump cuts, and he's eating like a hot dog. And he's like, all right, so here's what I do.
What do they want?
It's all of a sudden where he just gets so... You could just see how he just lets his guard down and gets so comfortable, and he's shoving a hot dog in his mouth. He's like, all right, let me tell you.
Just a fucking couple of guys talking about chicks, but he's like the worst fucking guy ever.
He's the worst.
Oh, God bless you, Bill Paxton, for this performance. Like, it could not be better.
It couldn't be better.
It could not be better.
It couldn't be better. It's so great. It's so great. It's so great.
Take her! Take her! Oh, God, don't hurt me!
Jamie Lee Curtis. Let's talk about old Jamie Lee Curtis. Now's the time.
Now is the time.
As a 10, 11-year-old boy, Keith, give me your breakdown of what Jamie Lee Curtis meant to you.
How do you not love Jamie Lee Curtis? I mean, this scene is burned into my brain as a young boy. She is gorgeous. She's got ass like a 10-year-old boy. I can't. No, she's great. She is great, and I think her performance is maybe a little bit of underrated, because I think she does a physical transition like super well, but even her tendencies and like outward performance from a housewife, your basic housewife, or however you want to present her, this shut in, closed off, simple housewife, to a really sexy, strong woman. Like there's a real metamorphosis there. Big word.
Yeah, no, we're all impressed.
Thank you.
Jamie plays a woman who has a lot of foibles, and she's really repressed, and she's kind of nerdy, and that was a fun character for us to create, and she was perfect. I mean, she didn't miss a beat, and of course it's all shot out of order. So you see a perfect line, but she didn't get to make it as a perfect line. Yeah. She did this part, then that part, then that part.
Yeah, it's a really great performance even before you get to the scene. It's just she does a great job, and that shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis has been a very talented actress for a long time. Has a very interesting career. Like, her career arc is very like up and down in my opinion, like with immediacy, where it's like she's a big deal in the late 70s as she becomes the scream queen with Halloween and Prom Night, and then kind of goes away, but then comes back for Trading Places and is a huge hit, and then kind of goes away and does some weird movies, but then comes back for A Fish Called Wanda, which was obviously a big deal, and then kind of like, nothing that great, and then almost like True Lies, which is, 5-6 years later. I think it's, to your point, it is like one of the best, if not the best, transformations of all time. The caterpillar to butterfly, the She's All That transformations, where it's like you watch She's All That and you're like, okay, Rachel Lee Cook is gorgeous, even with her glasses on. she's
Period.
This nerdy artist, like, yeah. Oh my, who knew?
No, anyone but her, not Janie Briggs. Guys, she's got glasses and a ponytail. Oh, look at that. She's got paint on her overalls. What is that? Guys, there's no way she could be prom queen.
But Jamie Lee Curtis, throughout the first however long of this film, looks like a very bland, I mean, they did a great job of like bland 90s mom.
Yeah,
like,
she looks like a 90s
moms
mom.
like this, that fucking haircut where you're just like, oh my God, that haircut. And then I remember being like watching this movie, and when that happened and that turn happens, and because even, you don't even like, you don't even see her physique throughout the movie, even when she goes into the hotel at first and she's wearing all those frills and lace, and then she like tears all that shit off, and you're like, the fuck is this? I remember being like 10, 11, being like, okay, what is happening here? All kidding aside, like a transformational moment for a pubescent / slightly prepubescent young Ev Duran to be like, oh my God, women, oh, look at this. Like, what a fucking mystery that has been unraveled, you know? And then that scene was just so like mind-blowing. Like, by today's standards, it's almost tame nowadays. Like, you can watch the whole thing on YouTube, which blows my mind, because to me, this was like the most adult, like sexy thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
But like, God bless you, Jamie Lee. Like, what a great role. I remember reading all these profiles at the time, like in People Magazine and Entertainment Weekly, about like Jamie Lee bringing sexy back to like older women. Like, what a great accomplishment.
How old was she in this movie?
That was what I just Googled and learned. Because in my head, I was like, Jamie Lee's 45, 50 years old. Like, how does she look this good? And then I Googled it, and she was like, oh, she was like 34.
Yeah, she's young.
She was not old.
She's not old at all.
I remember being a kid and reading, like, how does she look this good at her age? Like, I remember reading that stuff. And I Googled, and it's like, oh, I expected her to be like 80 years old now. And she's just like 63. And I was like, she's not even old. Like, what? It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's Hollywood mistreating women left and right.
For real. Since the beginning, Hollywood has been
ridiculous. 34. She's dead to us. Like, what?
Look at this ancient geriatric woman crawling around.
Gorgeous.
How does she look this good? Like, yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Really great. I mean, she looks great. Jamie Lee, great job.
She won a Golden Globe for this. Just
Did
FYI.
she really?
She won a Golden Globe for this role.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
Some merit in her performance.
The same way you overly dissect comedic moments in films, I overly dissect like sexy moments in films. Give too much credit. But I in that striptease scene, which was like totally mind blowing to a kid, I do remember like that shot as the music changes, right? To like the electric guitar riffs, and then like it's like down now, and it's just like her ankles as they like she steps aside and you see him, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is filmmaking. like it to me it's like this is what filmmaking should be, where it's like subtly is not correct, but it's like self-aware. You know what I mean? It's like we're having a good time. It's a wink at the audience of like what this is. Like, I don't know. You get it, Keith.
It's when directing complements the scene. Like it's very simple. The directing of that adds to the tone and the feel of what that scene already is and should be. It's good directing. Great job, James Cameron.
You're pretty good, James Cameron, no matter what they say about you.
You're okay.
And it also features the great the voiceover, the French guy. I mean, do your impression, please.
That's my second favorite. He's my second favorite character in this film. Is the French guy smoking a cigarette?
Yeah. No. Turn around. Do it doucement. Do it very slowly.
Okay, Lucem, what does that mean?
Doucement?
Yeah.
Again, I believe. Do it again.
Really?
I think so. I've never looked it up. I always assumed that.
No, I know. Me neither. This is a big deal for me to like admit that I don't know the words as well as other people, but I've never known what that word means. I've never known exactly what it is. So we do the impression, and I laugh every time because it's fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Do it, Lucina. Do it.
I always thought it was doucement. Doucement.
With a D?
With a D.
Oh, I always thought L.
Google it.
Okay, we're Googling it right now, live on camera. We're going to sit here this whole time as I find Google. This person says, doucement. Doucement? Doucement. Which is French for slowly, which he repeats in English after this line.
I guess maybe it was slowly.
Okay, random person online, we're just going to take your word for it.
Guy's a genius.
Doucement.
I like the way I say it better.
Okay, well, we learned so much.
We learned something.
You learned it. You know you didn't know. You know you didn't know. You're all morons.
You're not better than me.
Everything's great, but let's talk about what's not great. Keith, Put on your critic hat. As an adult, as you watch this film, is there anything that you were like, wish that wasn't the case?
To be honest, if there was one criticism, the film never feels long to me until they have to go save the daughter. Like that, I feel like the film should have ended with him saving the wife and the going over the famous bridge shot where he's holding the wife. It's a Harry, and they look at each other. They have that moment. They trust each other again. They kiss, so the nuclear bomb explodes. Like that's the end of the film. I feel like, and then you're like, more, even more, and then that part of the film, I always feel myself being like, okay, there's another 15 minutes here I got to get through. When I've just been through this whole wild ride, because the film is about their relationship and their love. They don't need a daughter.
True.
They don't need it. They don't need the daughter in the film at all.
Well, no, but it's kind of about her too, right? It's his family dynamic. It's not just his dynamic with his wife. But it becomes about that for the middle hour.
But that's the heart of it. You can trim this film down by losing the daughter or just getting rid of that end scene. Like you don't need it. It's not a necessity. The film is really about his balancing his spy life with his relationship with his wife.
I don't disagree that the nuclear explosion feels like a natural climax to the film, but I think that could be viewed as a double-edged sword in terms of there are, like I wrote that in my notes too, where it's just like the final act of this film / bleeding into the second act is just action set piece after action set piece to action set piece that are all gigantic. Like maybe in the moment at that time that could have been viewed as like, we're gonna fucking you want an action movie?
We're gonna give you one.
We're gonna give you stuff. We're gonna hit you over the head with shit you've never even seen. Where at the end you're just like, what did I watch? And so while I agree with you from a story structure standpoint, maybe it does feel a little like holy shit. And definitely by today's standards, it feels like, okay, that was the natural end. I think maybe in this moment in the early 90s, you were like, we're gonna overwhelm you, hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah, and people would sit 2.5 hours, probably.
Yeah.
Like now this...
Yeah, I was surprised too when I looked back on it, this was 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Like that's a movie.
Yeah. You don't need that last 15 minutes, in my opinion. Yeah. Do you have things you want to be a dick about?
I do. And it's because I respect this film that I'm willing to criticize it like this. One I already mentioned, which is the stuntman thing. There is an obscene amount of shots that clearly not Arnold, and that disappoints me as a fan of Arnold, as I've outlined. That even just like mid fight scene, you know what I mean? Where it's like it's one thing if it's him sliding down the mountain during the snow pursuit. Like, okay, sure, you're gonna get that guy, you're gonna get a stuntman. But like in the bathroom fight scene, or in like the end when he's escaping from the torture room and he's shooting all those guys, it's like any time that the camera is not facing him, when it goes reverse shot, it's never Arnold, and that's disappointing, and it's noticeable, which is my complaint. One scene that I suppose I liked when I was a kid, but as an adult I wish was not in there, was as the Uzi. Jamie Lee drops the Uzi, and it falls down the stairs, and is just conveniently shooting everyone. Guns don't just fire on their own repeatedly because they get bumped hard. So I always thought that was a little silly, especially now. And the last thing I will say is more recent revelations about young Eliza Dushku on this film and her experience. Like, taint the film a little bit. Have you read such things?
No. I don't know.
So within the last few years, I think Eliza Dushku, who plays Arnold's daughter in the film,
yeah, I know,
very talented actress, has alleged that she was sexually assaulted throughout the production of this film by the head stunt coordinator. And not only that, but that after she came forward at the time to certain people on the set to reveal that this was happening, like several days later, she was involved in a stunt where her equipment did not work and she broke ribs and hurt herself.
Oh, wow.
And she alleges that is all connected. And so So just generally speaking, you know, I can still enjoy the film, and I still adore the film. I still love the film. But with that revelation in the last several years, the times I've watched that movie, this film now in the last several years, that's like that knowledge is present, and that makes it kind of hard, you know, to enjoy it as fully as I once did, because you're watching this 12-year-old girl who must be going through terrible times, you know, at that time. So I'm sorry that that's a depressing thing to say in this film, in this episode that we're having a good time with, but it's a thing.
Yeah, I was unaware of that. I did not hear that. That is awful, and you've taken this film away from me. Congratulations. Congratulations.
You're welcome, Keith.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
I didn't.
All right, we're winding down here rapidly. I'm running out of space. So I want to ask you one question to close this out, unless you have anything else you really want to mention.
I don't think so.
Could you keep a secret of this scale to your wife? This is in 60 seconds or less.
No, I couldn't, because I'm a bad liar. You know that. I'm a shitty liar. I could not live this double life.
I'm a horrible liar. I might be the worst liar I know, which, like, great, very virtuistic trait, but I wish I didn't have.
Yeah, no, I wish I was a good liar.
Liars go further in life.
Of course.
Like the doors are open. You can become president.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Do you think people do that? Do you think this is a real thing? Like, I mean, embellished for the sake of the film, but do you think there are spies out there who don't tell their spouse today, nowadays?
Yes. I do.
Really?
I do. And that's why they call it True Lies.
Woo! Hold it. I don't buy it yet. I get it. I see it.